drove 6 hours last week looking for something memorable. Today, I barely left home and somehow found just as much fantastic goodies on the beach. We're here at Bunche Beach, which I used to refer to as a locals beach, but I really think a better description would be more natural or rustic beach, and not necessarily one I would recommend for people to find shells at. Why on earth did I come here to make a video? Well, mud flats don't immediately look beautiful at first glance. They're just mud puddles and grasses. But the more you look, the more you find. This is a dark seraph, and we do have a little hermit crab in there. That is a long-wristed hermit crab. It's not feeling particularly social, so we're just going to say hi and put it back. And there's going to be so many other things we are going to find here. Yes, believe it or not, there will be a couple of seashells. But the thing that really excites me is the critters. And so we are going to run into a bunch of critters, and we are going to see something I have never seen before. So if you're ready to see what all is out there for us today, let's go to the beach. So I tried my luck for a little while in the water here, but it was kind of murky. I wasn't really finding much. So I figured I'd pop up here on the beach. Now, I am coming at low tide still. I still do like to come at low tide. It does expose the beach to different shells and maybe some critters. Yep, Bunche always has glass. It's just one of those things. Wear your shoes, people. All right, that is a ponderous arc. Very common. Very hardy, which is probably why it's intact, unlike the rest of this like rubble that's here. It's all just crushed shells. Except for this. That's a pear whelk. Ooh. And it's a little weirdo. Okay. Fantastic. First of all, I don't usually find shells like that here, so this is really cool. And it's a little different. Yeah, you might, it's going to be hard for me to explain. So I will compare it to another shell a little bit later in the video. Spoiler, I do find another pear whelk, and I'm going to show them side by side, and I'm going to show you exactly why this one is a little bit awesome, or more awesome than a normal regular pear whelk. A coffee melampus. Now, prior to hitting the beach, I actually was creeping around in like woods and mud and stuff looking for live coffee melampus. If you know where to find them here at Bunche Beach, could you send me an email? I don't know where to look for them, and I'd like to see them, the live ones. Rose petal tellin. Yeah, there are going to be a couple of those today. I guess I had just forgot. Mud does kind of mean crown conchs, rose petal tellins, angel wings, and sometimes those sunray Venus clams. So not surprising, although just the sheer number of them was a little bit shocking. I didn't remember that, but they're here, believe me. Picked up a bunch of white ones. This is my first pink one. Isn't that pretty? It's one of the only pink things I can think that you can find on the beach, other than the large stragilla, which you can get on the other coast. But yep, the rose petal tellins, fantastic. Now, Bunche is fun because it's one of the only beaches I can find ladderhorn snails. So that's what this is. It's a ladderhorn snail. It's a little fossilized. It's been hanging out a while. It's not as richly colored as one that would be like really good condition. Whoa. Okay, this Sunray Venus went to art school. Look at that. Modern art, I would say. Yeah, it got really wild with all those colors and cool. So that's a Sunray Venus clam. Yep, the birds and I. This is a fantastic beach also for bird photography or photography in general. Oh yeah, I do love creeping around the mud to see what all is here. So this, yeah, I'm trying to make sure there's nobody inside. That is a West Indian false seraph. That's what that is. There's a little hole in it. I couldn't really determine if there was anybody in it or not. I wasn't going to keep it anyway, but yep, that was a little West Indian false seraph. Yeah, I had to kind of reach back in my memory for that. And we've got a dark seraph here. Trying to determine if it's empty. It appears so. I like them because they have like all those beads and they only get about that big. So yep, it's empty. Yay, that I could bring that home if I so desire. All right, now here's another Sunray Venus clam. That's more traditional. This one probably went to community college and it has its more traditional colors on it. Very cool. And then one of the things I typically find here at Bunche are the crown conchs. Here's one. Yep, it's a crown conch. So in theory, if you go where the critters are, that's where you're probably going to find the shells. So if I want to find some crown conchs, this is a great beach for it. But I'm competing with hermit crabs. So, and I don't like to compete with the critters. The critters come first. So look at this. Isn't that? So it's a bay scallop. Gorgeous. I don't typically find them with that kind of coloring on it. Frankly, I don't even find bay scallops even here. I feel like I should, but I just don't. Although maybe today I do. So that is one bay scallop. Now this little shell, I know it's just a kind of it's a lucine, or at least it looks like a lucine to me. And all right, it's not a buttercup lucine. So I did do a little bit of digging. I didn't give this enough screen time. I believe this is a Florida lucine. So moving forward, I will pay attention. Hopefully I will get to see another one of those. The horseshoe crab carapace. So that is not a dead critter. They outgrow their shells and they will need to replace them. They just kind of toss the old ones to the side. So snails they continue to grow along. They are attached to the shell. They continue to grow, unlike horseshoe crabs, which will outgrow their shell. Now, interesting, horseshoe refers to the shape of the actual animal, and crab, it's not actually a crab. You'll notice it doesn't have those little antennas like the crabs have. It's actually closer related to spiders, scorpions, ticks, and mites. Isn't that weird that they're closer related to spiders? So this is kind of what I'm talking about. Bunche Beach typically produces shells that look like that. Yay, hermit crabs, right? All day long. All Hermes. Yep, I'm going to leave that for the Hermes. Oh, and yeah, rose petal talon. It was that kind of day. And crown. Oh, sorry, buddy. I actually thought that was going to be empty. So it's alive because it's so furry. Look at that. So it is a live crown conch. But it's actually not a conch at all. It does not have its stromboid notch. So they call it a crown conch. There's plenty of shells that we call different things that aren't what they are. And it's all good. Oh, here's another one, but this one's cool. You can see it's proboscis. So you see that little like flexible tube kind of sticking out the front of it? That's called a proboscis. And you can kind of think of it as like a built-in snorkel crossed with a vacuum cleaner. So instead of sticking its whole body somewhere, it can just use its little proboscis and to kind of check out all the nooks and crannies. Oh, there. Okay, right at the base of the proboscis, you can see its little tiny head. Oh, it's so cute. Now you'll see that the proboscis is kind of like sweeping from side to side. It's literally sampling the water for chemical cues. So it's almost like it's sniffing its surroundings and then deciding, where to go next and what it should probably eat. And they'll eat anything, kind of detritus, dead things, living things, algae. They're not picky. And where the snails are, it's likely you might find a shell, and I did. It's a hermit crab shell. Look at that. Yep, no Hermit in it yet. Hopefully someone will move in there at some point. So looks like a fine home for a hermit crab. Now, oh, there we go. I'm kind of happy there's no hermit crab in that. Now the color is not going to get any better even if I dip it in acid, and I know that because the shell is wet. So that's it. It's not going to get any more colorful, but cool spikes, right? I like it anyway. Good little crown conch. All right, this one's up, aperture up, good sign. But yeah, it's a little rough. So I'm going to leave that for the hermit crabs. Yeah, perfectly good hermit crab shell. Although the hermit crabs I'm kind of seeing so far on the small side. That's a one that can like move up to, can graduate into a bigger one. Oh, horseshoe crab and another pear whelk. There we go. It's a little slimy, but it is going to work for my purposes because I want to compare the two. Okay, so this compared to the little weirdo pear whelk I found earlier. So the normal one is on the left and the kind of weirdo is on the right. Now I'm calling it a weirdo because of the translation rate. The snail did not go at the same rate. You can see that it moved kind of like almost 3 times as much as normal on that whirl there. So yeah, just a little different. Something like that will excite us shell people. Anybody, raise your hand if you're a shell nerd and you think that that's kind of cool. I do. And another pear whelk, excellent. The trifecta. We have 3 pear whelks and a partridge in a pear tree. Awesome. Thank you, Bunch. And well, of course there's a rose petal talon. Believe it, you're going to see at the end of the video. I'll show you 1 or 2. What do we got here? Critter. Yes, I see the proboscis popping out of the front. So I am not going to disturb. Plus it has a trail behind it. That's also a good way to see if we were talking a critter or a shell. Oh, there's a little critter. That's a little NASA, a little bruised NASA. And its proboscis is kind of poking out the front of the shell. Oh, that horseshoe crab. That's like the Corvette of the mud flats. Yeah. Kind of like shoveling along. There's another little bruised NASA there. Any crabs? No, I guess not in here. So, yeah, so I like these kind of conditions. If you just kind of stare at a puddle long enough, it might start moving. Which for me is, I just love it. The shells, the critters, all of it. Rose petal, yeah, the rose petal talons. So here in the grass, let's see what might change things up. I did once, a very, very long time ago, I found a seahorse here and returned it back to the water. This is not a seahorse, this is a crab. Oh, hello, cutie. Okay, so we are talking about a long-wristed hermit crab. And I think it's very talented. Yep, talented. Yep, you just go, what? Hey, don't stop. Do you do your thing, little crab? Well, that's just adorable. So, little drummer crab. At least that's what it reminded me of. I don't think it was, sorry. Okay, here's another one. Another long-wristed hermit crab. Okay, this one is not as musically inclined. And that's okay. It's quick. Yeah, it's in for exercise. It's late for practice. And another little crab. Tiny. So there's 2 here. That one isn't a bruised NASA. It's a tiny shell. And that one's about 1/3 of the size. Like, that is the size of the top of an eraser. Oh, it's so cute. That's my pinky. So just to show you for size. Hello, adorable little crab. So yeah, so I'm tiptoeing through the grasses and muds and whatnot here. Oh, so those are eggs from a crown conch. That looks like some sort of siphon to me, so perhaps there's a critter or creature, don't know, I'm going to leave it alone. And that is a muddy rose petal talon. All right, another seraph with probably a long-wristed hermit crab. You can tell the long-wristed hermit crabs because the claws are asymmetrical. So one of them is going to be a little bit like bigger than the other one. So very easy to identify those. And they don't get terribly big. Oh, that's weird. A rose petal talon. A sand dollar. So sand dollars are flat urchins. So they are urchins. We just call them sand dollars. This one's clearly living. Look at all the cilia. So that's how they move around. They also will move food into its mouth, which is dead center on the underside there. And then even the cilia in the keyholes, that's going to move food from maybe the top of the critter into its mouth on the bottom side. So it's a living sand dollar. It almost looked furry. So you can, I can clearly tell. A living one from one that is expired. That is weird. Oh, that's really weird. I have never, ever seen that. Okay, it's alive and someone's been nibbling on it. Oh dear. And I looked it up and apparently crabs, sea stars, some bottom feeding fish, and some predatory snails will kind of scavenge if somebody's already been like snacking on a sand dollar. I've never ever seen that before. And I probably grabbed that rose petal talon. Giant Atlantic cockles. These are just swell. Yep, they belong to the group Cardiidae because it kind of looks like a heart if you close it up. So that is a giant Atlantic cockle. That's another living sand dollar. I probably most of one. I'm just going to leave it alone. All right. It's scanning, tiptoeing through the mud. Another rose petal talon. Oh, another critter. So that is a lightning whelk, and we can also see the proboscis of the lightning whelk sticking out the very left of the shell. Now the foot of the animal, it's also kind of black. It's probably buried just a little bit beneath the surface of the sand, so we can't see it. We just kind of see the shell and its little proboscis poking out. It's on the hunt. It'll eat the clams, which I actually think is responsible for the empty Sunray Venus clams, because almost always when I find live lightning whelks, I find empty Sunray Venus clams. Another pear whelk. Delightful. That's a little all right. No, that black didn't look like it was going to rub off, but it does. And the color, ooh, that's really nice. Yep. All right, there's something in there though. So it did occur to me after I kind of was looking and I'm like, ugh, you know what? That's the critter. So I don't know how well the critter's doing, if it has expired or I don't know, but I'm not taking it home. I'm going to leave it here just in case it can make a recovery. So yeah, I'm going to tuck it in a little bit. I'm going to wish it luck and keep on moving for something that's empty or completely not viable. There we go. Hermit crab shell. Oh gosh, literally. Good choice, buddy. See? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That is a great... I've left a couple of them for you and your friends. So, yep, you all kind of hang out. Excellent. Little crab committee. Okay, moving along. There's another sand dollar. Most of it. Ooh. Someone's been nibbling on that one, too. Ooh, I wonder what it was. Weird, though. Never seen it. Yeah, might as well grab that while I'm here. Or that one, too. Yep. Yeah, I got many bends in on this trip. A piece of sand dollar. Oh, look at that pattern. It's kind of cool, but it's broken. Oh. Yep. So that one obviously is clearly not alive anymore. So you can really see the difference. At least I can. Yeah, just pick up a couple. You will see the difference. Oh, there's one. It's definitely not alive. Look at the pattern on it. Oh. So I went from elation to deflation. Oh, yeah. Well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And sometimes, honestly, the pattern doesn't stay. It just kind of feels like when you get home, it just kind of lightens up anyway. I'll just keep telling myself that. Oh, yeah, rose petal talon. I'm telling you, every time I bent down, there was a rose petal talon. So if you got a hankering for rose petal talons, Bunche Beach. You might not find all that much else, but I promise, well, low tide. I promise at low tide you will find a couple of rose petal talons. I clearly have a hermit crab in a true tulip. And to me, yep, long-wristed once again. Oh, it's going to come out and say hi. Well, hi, cutie. Actually, I don't think it's very happy with me. If I had to guess, I would say it's saying, get off my shell, you brute. So, okay, I will do just that. And I don't want to get pinched. So there you go. Yep, go off and do your little thing. Thank you for saying hi. Apologies if I interrupted anything. Here's a little pear whelk. That is also has a little critter in it. Okay. Oh, that's next to a crown conch, looks like. All right, lots of action in the water's edge here. Oh, here is another lightning whelk. So we can see the foot now, that black part. And that little like pointy thing sticking out mid-shell, that's one of its antennas. And then the actual skinny part of the shell, that's called the siphonal canal, and that's where the proboscis will kind of like feed out. Goodness, it's beautiful. What a beautiful shell. It's mid-sized. If I'm going to guess, it's probably about 4 inches big or so. Beautiful. Yep. So alive, and you know what's interesting? I don't really find lightning whelks here. I'm finding the pear whelks, but I don't really find the empty lightning whelks. This shell is a heartbreaker. Hermit crab, I really wanted it because I have never seen one like that before. It's probably a wedding shell. I looked it up. I didn't find any kind of fossil that looked like that, but I'm bummed. I have no idea what it is. I would have liked it. Oh, well, I got to see it, so there's that. But I don't know what that shell is. Oh, another crab committee. So we do have some, let's see, dark sereths, and then we also have, he's kind of trying to get, they're arguing, I think. And then there is a little bruised NASA in there. Yeah, I don't think they're arguing over their shells. It seems to be a pretty good distribution thing going on here. Hard to say what, although they look kind of angry. I do have to, hermit crabs don't look like the most docile critters. They do kind of look like they're kind of, well, ticked off sometimes. Yeah, someone decided to park their boat there. I don't know if that's on accident or purpose. Maybe they're trying to save on mooring fees. I don't know, but yeah, there's a boat parked on the beach. There is a little tiny bit of weather in the distance. Not too many people, which is awesome. Frankly, Bunche never really gets crowded. Yeah, this is great. I know it doesn't have that same look and appeal as like a traditional beach, but I love it. You know, probably because I'm just a little bit more educated about the things that I'm finding here. That was a crowned conch, and look, another live lightning whelk. You can see its siphonal canal and its little proboscis popping out the front. There's a little furry proboscis there. It's got some algae and whatnot on it. Lightning whelks are carnivores. I'd mentioned that earlier. They eat clams and whatnot. Oh, there's a reddish egret, but it didn't do its dancing, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, even though it is my second favorite shorebird. Let's see. Oh, this shell is massive, massive. So this is a crown. Look at that, just huge. And then I notice, oh, there's a second one. Okay, so the horse conchs as well as the lightning whelks, the females are the ones that get really, really big. They need the energy to produce all those eggs and the egg casings. So I suspect this larger shell here is also a female. I don't know if it's just a friend kind of pulled up to say hi, or maybe it's having a little romantic interlude. Hard to say. What do we have here? Somebody who is, yeah, all right. So the fighting conch is a true conch. It does have a stromboid notch, unlike the crowned conch. The tide. Yeah, you would have been fine, but you know what? I'm going to give you a little hitch anyway. There you go. A lift. I'll give you a lift. All right, let's see what's at the water's edge. Another pear whelk. Yes, all right, claimed. Good choice. That is a perfect hermit crab shell. Love that. Yep. Okay. Right, that is... Oh, inhabited. So this time we have a dimpled hermit crab. I have never actually seen a whole dimpled hermit crab because they're very, very shy. They don't come out. But their little claws are almost like paddles. They look very different than the long-wristed or the giant red or the blue-eyed. So we do have a couple different species of hermit crabs. Cool bay scallop, but it's got a whole bunch of something growing on the one valve. So I'm going to separate them. I'm going to leave one here at the beach, and I'm going to go ahead and take the white one. Yep, I just don't need the shell that bad. And the creatures, well, heck, they got here first. So I will hang on to that white bay scallop. I do like Bunche. It's not beautiful the traditional way that some of the other beaches are, but isn't beauty in the eye of the beholder? And while I contemplate that, I think I will be quiet so you can enjoy some beach time. Now, this rose petal tellin couldn't quite make up its mind. It's recently unalived. Hard to say, but kind of neat. I've never seen one that's really kind of like white with that much different color on it. This area of Bunche, so you got to go all the way to this would be the north end of the beach. There's a little bit of greenery, and the reason it's kind of lacking, it's still kind of recovering from Ian. I encountered this on Bunche Beach after Ian. Just one of the most crazy things. So the beach is still struggling to kind of recover. It looks so much better. And now I'd like to turn my attention to tinies. This is what hopefully this part of the video will be looking for. Oh, I do see a tiny shell, aperture up. Look at that. So that's a true tulip. That's so strange. Look at the great color on it too. Just weird, but Fantastic. So yeah, we do have a little adorable true tulip. All right, an olive, yeah. See, and that's more what I would expect an olive here at Bunch to look like. You know, hermit crabs, they don't like the olives. They're obviously terribly uncomfortable. So, yep, not conducive to hermit crabs. Oh, pointed Venus clam. Let's see. It's hard to, is it kind of fossilized? It's got a little bit of color on the other side, so yeah. An okay shape pointed Venus clam. And if you see a Wenzel trap, do not tell me. I've looked, I was there looking, I looked in the footage. I couldn't find, frankly, I'm not really finding much. I mean, it's just crushed shells. Not about this little pile. All right, here's a little something, something. All right, that's a little Bruce NASA. And another. Right, those are intact. Yay. All right, fantastic. But yeah, I'm kind of striking out on other little shells. Oh, wait a minute. There's a little Marginella trying to get away from me. So that is an Atlantic Marginella. That is so small that I dropped it when I was trying to transfer it into my tinies. And I did not find it again. So yeah, here and gone. That's another one of those West Indian false serifs. And what do we got? Yeah, okay, that's a kind of a slimy bruised NASA and another. That's just something broken. All right, well, it's a little slim. I was hoping for a little bit. It came here for tinies. Was kind of hoping. All right. Oh, there's another hermit crab shell. Plenty of contenders once I get a little bit bigger. Yep, so I was hoping maybe Wenzel traps, more coffee melampus, more of those Marginellas, but it's just crushed up stuff. And look, it's summer, so I really kind of should have known better. But believe me, I got a ton of rose petal talents. I'll show you in just a minute. There's another ladder horn snail. All right, the color on this is a little bit better than that one I picked up earlier. Let's rinse it off, take a peek. Not as muddy. Well, it's still muddy on the inside, but not as muddy. So yeah. That's a nice looking ladder horn snail. A coquina. Huh. Would you look at that? Complete with a drill hole. All right. Somebody was hungry. So that we do have a little coquina. Very fun. A fiddler crab. So they have asymmetrical claws as well. I'm going to, here, just, that's here. Yep. That's the same crab. Look at that big claw. Well, that big claw. That's why they're called fiddler crabs, because it kind of waves that claw around to try to get a date, and looks like he's playing a fiddle. There's a coffee melampus. All right, cool. All right, frankly, any of the small things are intact, I'm kind of going to get happy about, because yeah, I can only control so much. I can control when I go and where I go, and that's about it. Here we have a spiny jewel box. It's a little bit on the lumpy end. It's not terribly spiny, but that's not what was here. So Bunch was great. There were so many critters. Oh, that was fun. And actually, I got way more seashells than I thought I would. Like I said, I don't necessarily come here for the shells. This is really much more of an experience and to get to see the critters. And once weather is coming, it's time to go. So unfortunately, there was a little bit more garbage than I typically encounter at Bunch. Today was 2.35 ounces, but in total, I've removed a little over 96 pounds of garbage from our beach. Yeah, there was a couple of rose petal talons, but we'll get to that. There were some of those sunray Venus clams, one crown conch, a broad-rib cardita, the pointed Venus clam. Up top, the giant Atlantic cockles. There is a slipper shell there. There's coffee melampus, the bruised nassas, that little true tulip. I guess I kept one false or West Indian false seraph, two ladderhorn snails, a dark seraph, two bay scallops, the pear whelks. They were super cool, except for that little weirdo. It's my favorite one. And then there was a couple of rose petal talons. And so I wanted them anyway. I wanted to make some of those shell flowers, which I'll probably, once the weather gets a little crummier and I'm kind of stuck inside more in the winter, I'll probably turn my attention to those. Right now, I'm just having too much fun going to the beaches and just being outside. And none of this would be possible without my Patreons. Thank you so much. I actually am putting content on there much more than I was before. I put an entire snorkeling video on Patreon only. So that is something that was exclusive to the patrons, just as a thank you. Thank you so much for supporting me. If you want to get in on the action and some of the behind the scenes stuff, you can sign up over at Patreon. I will put a link in the description box below. Next week, I haven't done it yet. Next week, going snorkeling in the Keys. So I don't know exactly how this is all going to shake down. I'm going to assume it's going to be amazing. So until next week, I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you again next Sunday.